YouTube, what the crap's going on? Heir of Star Wars here, and gonna bring you all just like a quick little review of Star Wars Squadrons, which is a new space starfighter game that's come out. I believe it's on Steam Origins, and someone even told me it was on Epic. I haven't looked everywhere. It's $40 USD, and a lot of you out there, especially if you're Star Wars fans, may be wondering, is this game worth it? Is it fun? Should I play it? What's it all about? So I'm just going to give you, again, a couple of quick hits here and show you what the game is like and give you a couple thoughts on it. Just to start things off, what is available to you as the player is multiplayer and training missions, as well as a story mission that you can follow as well. There is a lot of cooperative play with other players. I think you can play up to up to 5 people in the same squadron in multiplayer, and I do believe you can do some co-op in the story mode, though I haven't confirmed that one yet. One of the coolest features of the game is the ability to customize your starfighters and your pilot. This is my Rebel pilot. I named her Frida McHope, and this is my Imperial pilot over here. And being the big Imperial jerk he is, his name is Hannibal Salto. Actually, you can't see him right now. Here, we'll go to customize. But yeah, you have a lot of customization options. I mean, doesn't this guy just seethe with Imperial jerkiness? That's right. You can customize their helmet, their body, their uniforms. You know, it's like legs, arms. You can get little emojis, voice, all kinds of stuff. You can change their faces and all kinds of different things that you can do to your character. You can also customize your starfighter. You can customize not only the way it looks, but you can also customize the way that it plays. So for instance, if we hit G here and show the loadout on this TIE fighter, you can see the way it is edited right now. You can come in here, I can change the different weapons, and here was one of the interesting things about the customizations on the ships. You, of course, can earn these through experience in the game. You can see I've got some requisition and some renown points here, and you can unlock these different types of weapons with these requisitions that you get from playing battles, and but all of them are a trade-off. So, like, for instance, I was thinking that they would, and some of these may be OP. I haven't played the game long enough to know, but I was thinking some of these would just be straight-up buffs as you go through here and level up, which would make this difficult for a new player. And it might. I don't know exactly how they play out, but what I'm seeing is that almost everything's a trade-off. So, like, look, for instance, here's my standard Cinar laser cannon. It does 480 DPS, 6.7 shots per second, okay? The next one does way less DPS, but it comes with some auto-aim that helps you. So this one, you don't have to be aiming quite as good, maybe, to still get hits. The next one comes with extra DPS, but it shoots slower, and it's a burst fire, so you better be aiming good. And then the next one, huge DPS, but very slow fire rate. And again, you want to be able to aim good. The last one is some kind of ion thing, which I haven't figured out yet. I think it does some disabling or something like that, but it's just to give you an example. And every ship kind of has its own little ways to be upgraded. Like, for instance, there's countermeasure slots. You can change the hull. Right now I'm using a dampener hull, which makes it harder for people to lock missiles on me, but it takes away health. So every one of these has a benefit and a trade-off, which should make for some interesting depth in the sense that people are going to have to figure out exactly how they like to do things. Like, do I just fly a normal fighter, or do I like to maybe trade off a little health for some maneuverability, or a little health for, like in this case, missiles don't lock onto me as fast? Do I trade off some maneuverability for some extra hull strength? All those kind of things are going to play in. So it's a really cool system. And then the customization of, like, the paint job. So for instance, I've got this red TIE fighter after only just a little while. You can even put decals on it. You can see, like, the Darth Vader Imperial decals. Holograms that you can put up inside. So just cool little stuff that you can do to customize your ship. This is a really nice touch. See, like, little bobbleheads and stuff you can put up here too. So a very nice job by EA on this type of stuff. It lets the player customize their ship without making anything too crazy. Yeah, see here's like little Rancor and stuff you can put up. So neat stuff, and you unlock it through in-game, playing the game. This is great. So I just wanted to give you an overview of some of the customization. That's not everything, but at least it gives you an idea of what customization looks like. Now, you do get a campaign, and I'm going to have a little bit of footage here in the background. This is not going to be like a whole campaign mission, but I'll show you that, you know, there are cutscenes in the campaign, there is dialogue in the campaign, and then there is mission areas of the campaign. And then, of course, in the campaign, you also have areas in the hangar, similar to what I showed you, where you can kind of work on customizing your loadout and other pieces in your starfighter. Now, I'll just kind of talk through a few things. Let's talk about story, visuals, and gameplay. Probably would be some good topics to hit quickly on this, so here we go. So as far as the story goes, yeah, I don't want to ruin any of the story. There is a story behind it. It's okay. I haven't played the whole thing yet, so I don't know how it ends. It flops back and forth between a rebellion and an imperial point of view, so you get to play both. That way they didn't have to make a separate campaign for both, I would assume, which probably lowers the production cost, but also gives the players the opportunity to play on both sides of the fight. So the story's okay. Again, I haven't finished the whole thing, but it seems like it's leading in a good direction to me. The dialogue is kind of meh. So, I mean, as you're in here, again, I don't have any of it. Well, I don't have any of it playing, but I'll play some for you here in just a minute, just to give you an idea.
Oh, hey, I'm Keo Venzi. Welcome to Vanguard Squadron. You'll do great things with us. Trust me. This is an amazing team. I went from semi-pro racing to fighting the Empire. Quite a change. But everyone in Vanguard lifts up the others. You'll fit right in. Whatever this Project Starhawk is, I suppose the commanders will tell us when they're ready. But for now, we have scouts to find. According to the battle plan, we aren't flying together on this mission, but you'll be on my wing sooner than later. See you out there.
Yeah, so for me, the dialogue parts have not been super exciting to sit through, but it is part of the story. You can sit and listen to it. It's not the highlight for me. Obviously, this is a game that's meant to simulate space combat, and I think that is really going to be its highlight. Not these few moments where you're sitting around in the hangar talking to your squad mates, but it does help add to the overall story, and the game does have the storyline in the campaign, which is nice. And at $40, I think we could have all seen EA making the argument that, well, it's $40, that's why it doesn't have a campaign. So I'll take it. I think it's acceptable given the circumstances. So I'll leave some background noise on here, and we're going to talk about, I said we should talk about the story, the gameplay, and the visuals. The visuals, in my opinion, are good. You all can see that here. It's not the most stunning game I've ever seen, but the visuals are good. It's pretty easy to read the overlays. I still struggle with the controls, as you're going to see here. I'm trying a lot of different settings in terms of different sensitivities and working on some keybinds, so I don't love the controls at the moment. And it's less the fault of EA, probably. They give you plenty of settings for the controls. I probably just haven't gotten them tuned in, is what I'm trying to say, but you know, it's a little bit awkward with the Starfighter for me right now. I'm working on it, not something that I plan to hold against them. I'm just letting you know. It's a feeling I have now after, a few hours in the game, and I think it'll probably get better as I go along, but just trying to be honest in the way I review it. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, the gameplay is good. There's a power system. You can actually see it in my X-Wing here. There's blue, red, and orange bulbs there. Blue represents engines, red represents weapons, green represents shields, since the X-Wing does come equipped with shields. You have to manage this power during the game. If you put more power into the engines, your starfighter will be faster, and it enables a boost mode. If you're using the boost mode, you can travel very quickly, and you can also use a drifting slide maneuver to try and position yourself to better kill enemies. It's pretty neat. If you put all your power into your weapon systems, your lasers hit harder and they recharge faster. This is a great way if you're looking to output maximum damage. If you put all your power into the shield system, then the shields will recharge the fastest. In fact, they will even overcharge and give you extra protection. This gives you a lot of flexibility in different situations in combat and requires you to be thinking on your toes as you go in order to make sure you don't get destroyed and you can try and defeat your enemies. So this power system and the way it balances, I find this to be a really nice touch. It is not overly complicated, but it does have enough depth to it that there will be subtleties the players can capture on, and it will make the multiplayer interesting because I think by the time you look at the loadouts and the very small changes the loadouts can make to you, like for instance making you more maneuverable or faster or a little more health, and then you couple that with this power system and then couple that with the way that people might maneuver or work together, it's really a pretty cool system that you have there. in terms of the depth that it's going to add. Now, what you're seeing here is me talking a little bit about the gameplay. Again, I mentioned the power systems. I would say the power systems are kind of the highlight of the gameplay. Let's go talk about just a couple more things, though, that I think are important, which is, I think earlier I showed you the ship's loadout. Let's talk about the different ship types and how that might add to this. But as far as the campaign goes, there is a story. It's not bad. The gameplay is pretty solid. The dialogue's a little bit tired sometimes, but it's not too bad. And the visuals look good, and the performance in the campaign is good. So overall, I would say that this is a pretty solid piece of the game. So one of the important things in the game that I haven't covered yet is the different ship types. You basically have 4 types of ship at the moment in the game. I would say, and I may be calling these out wrong, but fighter is going to be your first one, bomber, interceptor, and support. And I do think I got these right, actually, because the text is right there in front of me. So a fighter is a nice all-around type vehicle. It's a nice combination of speed, firepower, defense, loadout capabilities. It is kind of in the middle ground. It is a jack of all trades and a master of none. The bomber is a tankier ship that tends to be slower, but can dish out more firepower and can carry some very punishing loadout that tends to be quite decent against larger ships like little cruisers and destroyers and stuff like that, corvettes, the things you're fighting. It can come with certain systems that can also make it kind of a nuisance for interceptors and fighters to chase around. But typically this thing will not dogfight to the same degree that a fighter or interceptor would, but is able to dish out more damage and take more damage in return. The interceptor is supremely fast, very maneuverable, and is very good for dogfighting, but it comes at the sacrifice of hull and loadout potential. So not as much probably loadout potential in some ways, but this thing is going to be for those of you who just want to be fast and furious, constantly on the 6 of another player. Now, the support ship, in my opinion, is a really cool ship. It is, again, if you look at the hull here, and this one actually comes with shields on the Imperial side. And for the Rebellion, I should say real quick, the fighter is the X-Wing, the bomber is the Y-Wing, the interceptor is the A-Wing, and the support ship is the U-Wing. And for the Empire, it's the TIE Fighter, the TIE Bomber, the TIE Interceptor, and the TIE Reaper. So the support ships are very important. You can reload your teammates, and you can also help repair their ships, while at the same time having a decent little ship that comes with some pretty cool abilities like this turret you can see in the loadout now. There's supply droids, really cool stuff that you get with the support ship, and it's actually very important, and people are going to need to find this niche within their squadron because support is needed if you really want to do well. Otherwise, if you just go out and everybody's rolling in an interceptor, you're going to have some weak points. So basically, the different ship types are encouraging cooperation and encouraging squad play. It's very basic. It's very easy to understand these ship types. And so I think it's a cool way for the game to function, and it gives people a choice of how they want to play the game, and it leaves it open to create more opportunity for you to replay the game by learning a new role within the squadron, and then couple that with the fact that, say, for instance, this TIE fighter here doesn't have shields. The X-Wing does. So even though they're both a fighter class ship, there's still some very different nuances to the way they play, and there's slightly different things that come from a loadout perspective. So again, I think this will add some replayability and some desirability for people to come back and continue to try and learn more things about the game. So as far as the multiplayer side, I'm not going to put a whole bunch of footage in here of combat in the multiplayer side. The combat is actually pretty similar to what you will have seen from some of that spliced in campaign footage. You've got a few modes here. You have Dogfight, which is just 2 squadrons going head to head. This is some good kind of arena style multiplayer, which is 5-on-5. I find that this one's interesting. I played several rounds of this last night with some folks on the Discord. In the dogfight mode, there are some times when you'll be playing other people. In our case, we were low skill because we had just started the game. When we played other people with that same skill, it was just a big mess of dogfight going on that was a lot of fun. We ended up in a couple of matches up against some teams who knew how to cooperate and had a little more skill, and we got flattened. So the game definitely has a learning curve if that's the type of thing that interests you in terms of learning how to get better and cooperating with your teammates in order to be more effective. There's also fleet battles. You can play, and in both of these modes, you play as the Empire and the Rebellion. Both sides kind of have some niceties and trade-offs to them that are interesting, like the TIE fighters, for instance, are fast. They're maneuverable, but they can't take as many hits as an X-Wing. And so there's different things like that they trade off as you play the battles. And so I think most of my time in what you saw here was playing as Rebellion, but I actually enjoy playing as the Empire every bit as much. I find it pretty fun. There's fleet battles versus the AI. If you want to practice, you can play against the AI. And then there's also a literal practice mode, which is fantastic. A lot of games lack this. This is a really nice touch where you can just go in, you can practice flying around. It can give you an obstacle course. It can give you an enemy squadron to fight. It can give you an enemy capital ship to fight. You can literally practice every mode, every ship, as much as you want. There's even a tutorial to walk you through how the fleet battles work. So just at a quick hit, Star Wars Squadrons, is it worth it? It is a $40 game. It's not a $60 game, which I do think that this is worth it for a $40 game. There are things about this game right now, and I'm going to go ahead and lay these out here, a few frustrations. The matchmaking a couple of times last night when trying to find fleet battles was pretty poor. We'd have 4 out of the 5 slots filled, and it would take us sometimes over 5 minutes to find a 5th, which to me is unacceptable, especially this close to launch. It's just weird that something isn't matching, and it's also strange sometimes that was happening when we were doing fleet battles versus the AI even. Just stick an AI pilot in with us and let us go. Don't make us wait for 5 minutes. So I felt like that needed to be corrected. The matchmaking wait times on Dogfight were relatively short and pretty straightforward, so the same complaint didn't go there. As far as the only thing that I don't like, and this is more of a personal opinion, I actually don't think it's a gripe with the game. I've been playing a lot of Halo recently outside of Total War. It is very snappy, very responsive. This game, by comparison, when I flip over to it, the Starfighter has momentum, the speed that you're traveling at, changes the turn rate, as well as their power settings and other stuff like that. It feels very sluggish for me coming out of it. I don't like that a ton at the moment. I'm having to get used to it because it creates for a lot of imprecision and accuracy. But I think that that's part of the learning curve that you have to come in here and get used to, is they didn't want this to necessarily be a point-and-click type shoot experience. I think they wanted you to have to fight with the momentum and stuff. I have not tried a controller yet. I've been playing on mouse and keyboard. I like the ability to get to all the buttons quick on the mouse and keyboard, but I will try the controller and see how that plays out as well. If you have any experience playing the controller, please leave your thoughts in the comments, because I do have an Xbox One controller that I can attach to Windows and give that a shot. I just haven't done it yet. But anyway, there you go. There's a quick overview of Star Wars Squadrons. In my opinion, is it worth it? I mean, $40 to me is not the end of the world, so yes, it's worth it. If $40 pinches and hurts, maybe you should wait and see more reviews, but this is mine. Like, if I had to just rate the game as far as out of 10, where I think it's at right now, it's probably an 8, in my opinion. It's got a decent campaign. The characters are a little bit cheesy sometimes, and some of the dialogue's not that great. But again, $40 instead of $60, I'm willing to look past stuff like that. The game looks good visually. The sounds are good. Is it as amazing looking as some of the DICE Battlefield games recently? No, it's probably not quite to their level, but it looks really good. The better thing is that I've been playing it, and granted, I do have some pretty expensive hardware. I'm running a 2080 Ti and a Ryzen 7 3800 XT, so I've got some really nice hardware. But the game has been on max settings at 1440p, and it's just been pegged out at 120 frames or more the whole time I've been playing, which creates a great experience because the frame rate is really good. So I'm a big fan of that. Lots of options to change your controls and your video settings, which I didn't show you all that either. Gameplay options, inverting look, throttle friction. I mean, again, quite a few options here to customize the game. I had to turn the music off just to make sure I didn't get DMCA'd by Disney. I don't know if they have copyrighted music in here or not. Some of the music sounded unique to me, but then again, you never know. But yeah, so fun stuff. I think, again, for $40 worth it. Probably about an 8 out of 10, in my opinion. That's about 4 hours in. I do have some more playing to do. And if I ever change my verdict, I'll let you all know. But appreciate you watching. Hope this was helpful. Heir of Star Wars, signing out for now. And I'll see you in the space battlefields of Star Wars Squadron.